So let me repeat what I was telling. So Warshall algorithm provides a transitive closure of the digraph. Digraph is nothing but your directed graph. In this case, let's say we have taken this graph, a small graph with 4 vertices. So the transitive closure of this digraph of n vertices is a n cross n Boolean matrix. When we say a Boolean matrix, that means the entries will be either 1 or 0. So you will have only 0 and 1 entries into this matrix T, where you will have some Tij rows and columns. So any one particular cell into that matrix, that is Tij, refers to the ith row, jth column, where I denotes an ith vertex and j denotes the jth vertex. That means Vi and Vj, such that Tij will be equal to 0 if there is no path between Vi to Vj. And if there exists a non-trivial path from the vertex I to the vertex j, then this will be made equal to 1. Yes, so I hope you can correlate this to your adjacency matrix. So let's say we'll have an adjacency matrix for this. So this adjacency matrix will be A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. That means this matrix will have what path exists within the graph. A to A, is there a path? There is no cycle here. So we are going to make all self loops as 0. So there is no path from A to A, B to B, C to C, and D to D. Then A to B, there is a path. So it is 1. A to C, there is no direct path. So this is going to be 0. A to D, there is no direct path, whereas there is a path from D to A. Yes. So D to A, we will make it as 1, not A to D, because this is a directed graph. Then B to A, there is no path. B to C, there is no path. B to D, there is a path. So it is made as 1. C to A, there is no path. C to B, there is no path. C to D, there is no path. So all entries are made 0 here. D to A, there is a path. So it is 1. D to B, there is no path. D to C, there is a path. So it is made as 1. Yes. So this is your adjacency matrix. From this adjacency matrix, what we say is we are going to retrieve a transitive closure that will say that if there is a path that exists from vertex I to vertex J. So right now, if you see here, A to C, there is no path. But if we traverse from A to B, B to D, and D to C, there is a path. Yes, so transitive closure, although we will look into it step by step. So let's quickly see what kind of a transitive closure we will get for this graph. That we will just write down seeing the graph. A to A, there is no path, direct self loop, but there is a path from A to B, then D, and back to A. So there is a path. Yes. Next is A to B, there is a path. A to C, A, B, D, and C, there is a path. A to D, there is a path. B to A, there is a path? Yes, because B to D and D to A, there is a path. B to B, there is a path? Yes, because in this cycle, you have a path. B to C, there is a path. B to D, there is a direct path. C to A, no. There is no edge that is going out of C. So from C, you cannot go to A, you cannot go to B, you cannot go to D, and even to C. Yes, so all these entries will be 0. From C vertex, we cannot go to any other vertex. From D to A, there is a direct path. We can reach to B also. We can reach to C also. And using the cycle, we can reach to D also. Yes, so what we have got is that we start with the adjacency matrix, and then using other intermediate nodes, we try to find out if there exists any kind of a path between any two vertices and make it as a transitive closure. Yes, transitive closure is this matrix where from the ith vertex to the jth vertex is 1 if there is any kind of a path that exists. Yes, now this one is following the approach of dynamic programming. So Warshall algorithm follows dynamic programming approach, and if we say that this is dynamic programming approach, so for dynamic programming, the principle of optimality comes into picture. And what does it say? That you will have an optimal sequence of decision. At every point, you are taking decisions. It is not randomly, it is going at every point. You are starting from one particular adjacency matrix in this case, then you will move on to the another one, you will make some choice, and then to the second, third, and then you finally you will get this transitive closure. So there is a sequence of decisions that you need to take. Now, in this case, the sequence of decisions that you need to take are written as R0. R0 is the matrix that you start with. That means R0 is nothing but your matrix A. And after this R0, you calculate some Rk minus 1, then Rk, and you leave to R of n. Yes, so let me explain you what is this R matrix. So let's say we are talking for some R matrix, which is the kth one. It says that this will have some ij values. That means I will denote one simple value as R of ijk. So what does this mean? R of ijk. This means that you start from the vertex 1 and then you have a list of intermediate vertices such that these vertices are less than k. These intermediate vertices are less than or equal to k, and that leads to the vertex J. Okay, so let me write it more clearly here. So from this adjacency matrix, we will get some intermediate matrices that will correspond into this. So when I'm saying this K, yes, so it starts from R1 to Rn minus 1. So in this case, what is happening is that we are taking one vertex as the intermediate one. So in this case, when we have n is equal to 4, we have 4 vertices. So the different intermediate matrices that we will get is R0, then R1, then R2, then R3, and then R4. So R0 is our basic or the adjacency matrix. So this is the matrix that is created from whatever is given to you. Yes, if there exists a direct path without any intermediate vertex. So that is your R0 without any intermediate vertex. R1 is where you will consider only the first vertex as the intermediate one. Yes, So considering only the first vertex as intermediate one, can I get the other path? Yes, so that will be your R1. R2, once you are crossed, you have done with R1, then you take the second vertex. And using the second vertex as intermediate one, then we find out the remaining paths. Then R3. From R2, we take the third vertex as the intermediate one and calculate the remaining distances. For R4, we will calculate accordingly. Yes, so that is how we are going to work. Now for this one, let's say this is our R0 only. We said R0 is your adjacency matrix. Now let's say we want to calculate for R1. Yes, so as we told, R1 means we are taking the intermediate vertex as your first vertex. So if you are saying I'm taking A as the intermediate vertex, then A to B taking A as the intermediate vertex, it will remain the same. Yes. So what I mean to say, if you have to find out the path from A to B, then you have to take A as intermediate and then you have to reach B. A to C, it will remain same. So for that, the complete row and column for the A vertex will remain the same. That means from A to A it is 0, A to B it is 1, A to C it is 0, A to D it is 0, and similarly within the column these values will remain the same. As well as right now, okay, what we will say here is any time that you want to compute this B to B, and see this is your ith vertex and this is your jth vertex, and what we have said that it will take k as the intermediate one. So k is what value? That is equal to 1, the first vertex. So we need to find out B to A and then A to B. Is there a path? Yes. So B to A, there is a path. A to B, there is no path. So whatever was existing, that we are going to keep. Yes. So that is 1. Earlier it was 0. Now also it is 0. There is no path from B to B if we are only considering A as the intermediate one. Now coming to B to C. B to C, there is no direct path. Can we go from B to A and then to C? No. Yes, so it is also 0. B to D, there is a direct path, so we don't need. Yes, so we know there is a path existing. C to B. So let's say now we are working for C to B and we are saying from C to A and A to B. That means we are taking A as the intermediate one. But there is no path from C to A, so it will remain whatever was already there. C to C, it will be C to A and then to C. This is also same. C to D, C to A and then to C. So it is also the same. Let's now check for the last row. D to A, there is already a path. So intermediate one, it will not do anything. Then we'll look for D to B. D to B, we are saying, is there a path from A to B? D to B, earlier it was 0. Now we are saying, if we go from D to A and then A to B, there is a path. Yes. So I have to make it 1. Yes. Then D to C, there is a direct path, so it is remaining the same. D to D, we are saying D to A and A to D. So there is no path like that. So we are going to make this as 0. So there is a small change in the matrix. Only one value we have changed here when we are considering all these values. I hope this is clear. So from here, I'm going to generalize one thing that we will be using for the other 3 matrices. That is that if Rij value is equal to 0, in R k minus 1. See, this is R1, this is R0. So if Rj value is 1 in the previous matrix, then Rij will be equal to 1 in R of k. That means in the next adjacency matrix or the changed matrix that we are, intermediate matrix that we are creating for transitive closure, that will have the same value. Yes, if it is already 1, it will be 1. There is no change. So it is saying that there is a path. So we are saying there is a path. Now, if Rij is equal to 0 in the previous matrix, like in this case, it is 0, then Rij will be made equal to 1 in R of k only if when you will have Rik equal to 1 and Rkj equal to 1 in Rk minus 1. So if this has to be made 1, yes, in the next kth matrix, then in the previous matrix, the Rik value, yes, this was what we were talking about, RDB. Yes, so RDB is made equal to 1, okay, in this when you have a path from RDA and RAB. That is, you have this value and you have this value. So if these two values are there, then only this will be made equal to 1. I hope this journal formula is clear to you all, because we will be using this in the algorithm also. So if it is not clear, we'll move on to the next intermediate matrix, that is R2, and it will become more clear. Now let's see what will be the value of R, where k is equal to 2. K is equal to 2 means we are talking about the B matrix, B vertex. So the intermediate vertex B, what changes it will make. So as we said, if there is an intermediate vertex, for that particular vertex, row and column values will remain the same, because if we are taking a path from B to B or B to C, yes, intermediate is B, it will remain the same, B to B and B to C, right? So all the values will remain same for the B row and the B column. So this is going to remain the same. Now we'll start looking at the changes at the other values. Now A to A, we are looking as B as the intermediate one, A to B and B to A. There is no path, so it is 0. Fine. A to C with B as the intermediate path, A to B and C, there is no path, so this is also going to be 0. Yes. So A to C, we are looking at A to B and B to C. So A to B is 1, but B to C is 0. So the AND of this will be equal to 0. So that's why we have put 0. Now looking at A to D. For A to D with intermediate as B, we are looking at A to B and B to D. So A to B is 1 and B to D is also 1. Yes, so that means there is a path from A to D. 1 and 1 is resulting into 1. So there's a logical AND that is happening there. I hope this is clear. Similarly, from C to A, if we have to find out from C to A, Then C to B and B to A. C to B is 0 and B to A is also 0. So this remains 0. Then for C to C with the intermediate as B, C to B and B to C 0. C to D, if we have to calculate, then it will be C to D with B as intermediate, it will be CB and BD. CB is 0, BD is 1. So 0 and 1, the AND operation between 0 and 1 will result into 0 only. So this is also 0. Coming to the last row, D to A is already 1. This is 1. D to C is already 1. Now D to D with B as intermediate. That means whether you have a path from D to B and B to D. D to B there is a path, and then B to D also there is a path. So this will become 1. Yes, let's quickly see how this is working. We are saying D to D with B as intermediate, D to B and B to D. So in the previous matrix, we looked for D to B. D to B is 1. B to D, it is 1. 1 and 1 is equal to 1. So what has happened is that when we were calculating B to D, okay, there was a direct path. But for D to B, we have used in the previous case A as intermediate one, and we have told there is a path from D to B. So once there is a path from D to B, then we have a path from D to D also. I hope this is clear.